All right, welcome to another episode of Let There Be Talk. Today is Monday, August 10th, and we are here. We are alive, another Monday. As every Monday, probably wearing the same clothes you were last Monday, probably some sweatpants. I was just reading in the New York Times that the fashion industry has crumbled due to the COVID. And I started thinking about it. I was like, I don't know. You know, I did wear sweatpants for the first couple months of COVID, and then I was like, nah, fuck it. And I showered, I shaved, I put on some jeans, some boots, and I went out and I was like, yeah, there was something to it that it brought some normalcy to me. So I'm not falling for that tapping out. I'm not falling for that giving up. Anyway, that being said, welcome to a Monday here. Beautiful day out. I was just out at Joshua Tree yesterday, the second week in a row that I went out there, clear my head, get some ideas, and get some of that desert energy. And oh man, it's helping. It is definitely helping. Going to take a couple trips here in the next couple weeks. Ian Edwards and I are going to go out to Zion, look at some tarantulas and snakes, and a little trip back home to the hometown, Yosemite, is in order also. Gonna get that stuff together. That is my plan. In the meantime, also podcasting like crazy since I have some time. I have a little announcement here. I have decided to do a second podcast. And it basically what it will be is all the Handmade episodes for now on will be found on a separate podcast. I'm still toying with the name of the podcast. If you have any ideas, you can email me, deandelray@yahoo.com. I'm just going to give you a few names that won't work. The Dean's List, which I was going to use. There are 10 podcasts called The Dean's List. 10! Apparently, there is no rules on if a show name exists already, you can still call your show that. So, unlike any other kind of entertainment platform, if there's a podcast with a name, you can still name somebody could name their podcast Let There Be Talk Tomorrow. It would be dumb, but they would do it. They could do it, so anyway. That is my announcement. I'm excited about it. All the Handmaids for now on will be on a separate podcast after this month. So here's what's going on. I am dedicating the rest of the month of August to Handmade episodes. Great guests coming up. Brian the Bootmaker's coming up. Jonathan Ward from Icon 4x4 is coming up. And today is a Handmade episode with two incredible humans, and their story knocks me out. Victor Delgado and Jorge Alvarez, owners of the greatest taco place in LA. There's four of them. Tacos 1986. Okay? And let me tell you something. I can't even begin to pretend I know what it takes to open a restaurant. But I can tell you this right now. I've known tons of friends in my life, tons, that have opened restaurants, and none of them have made it. It seems like the most insane business to go into, especially now during the COVID. Can you imagine if you were a restaurant owner during COVID? I mean, look, I had All Time on, and that I just feel for those guys. Like, God, I hope they make it. They've been fucking muscling it, making it through with their roadside or curbside delivery, and they're also home deliveries in their own right. So my point is, you have to have a deep, deep, deep passion, and that is what I respect in the people that open these restaurants. Their passion. It's not like you sit down and go, you know what, we're going to open a taco stand and become millionaires. When you're looking at restaurants, you never think I'm going to get rich. It's like I'm going to make a place where people are going to enjoy eating and hanging with their friends, and I'm going to enjoy sharing my ideas and all that stuff, man. The restaurant is a pure passion game. I don't know. The restaurant people could have the most passion that I think of when it comes to handmade people. And I do think of restaurants as handmade episodes because, like I said, there's sweat, blood, and tears going into this, and dreams and passion, all that stuff to make a great restaurant. That is a long-winded description of Tacos 1986. These two guys' story is unbelievable. Born and raised in Tijuana, they create a business that is booming. And it was the first place for me, other than San Francisco, where I was born and raised. I wasn't born in San Francisco. I was born in Yosemite. But where I grew up on Mexican food, the Mission in San Francisco, to me, is the greatest Mexican food on the planet. That being said, I had been in search for years for something that was just as good or that could beat it. And one day, Cam from Craft and Tailored, I was having a meeting with him and downtown, and he said, you want to get some tacos? I said, sure, let's do it. And so Cam takes me into Tacos 1986. This is a long time ago. They've only been open a year, so it was right around, I guess, in the first few months that they were open. I had 3 tacos, and I was immediately addicted like it was crack. I was like, this is the spot. And then I met the owners, and I go, not only is this the spot, but these two guys are incredible. You got Jorge, who is known as Joy on Instagram, and he's constantly like, we got the best tacos ever, man. Come on in here. The strawberry sauce. Come on, yeah, do it. This guy's amazing. Anyway, I love all you guys, and I love these guys, and I hope you're going to enjoy my new podcast with all the handmade episodes. I will be moving all the handmades that were on Let There Be Talk over the last 9 years all on one podcast now, so you can find them all. I don't want these people, these creators, these geniuses that I've had on here, I don't want them to go to the wayside. I want them to survive during COVID. I want people to understand high quality goods. I want to tell people and teach people and explain to people why stuff costs more money, but why it does, why it's fucking great. That being said, these tacos are cheap, thank God. Okay. So that's the news. Spread the news. Tell your friends. There's going to be a second podcast. Before we do get into it, I do have also 87 bonus episodes on Patreon. Patreon is exploding right now with all kinds of great ideas. I'm doing the Zoom Fest every Friday or Saturday night. You can join me and all the Patreoners on there as we have fun. Talking about topics. Last week was favorite movie, all kinds of great stuff, and that is included in your Patreon donation. Check it out, patreon.com/Dean Del Rey. Brand new Patreoners, Melody Myers, welcome. Big Al Heart Attack, welcome. Chris Heller, you're in the house. Ville Kuntinen bumped up his donation. Annie Parkowski. Welcome, Annie. Rock and roll. Kelly Caldwell is in the house. Sean Caviston. Saul Oliver. Colton Fennessy Torrell. Great name. Andrew Cameron. Ben Walling and Kenneth Moore. All brand new Patreoners. Check it out, patreon.com/Dean Del Rey. Let's get into it right now. If you are in the LA area, Burbank or West Hollywood or Westwood or downtown LA, get yourself to Tacos 1986. They're open right now every night till 10 p.m. This stuff is incredible. Enjoy this episode. Candles are lit. Happy Monday. All right. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Let There Be Talk. This will be a handmade episode. Handmade episode meaning having someone on the show that has started something, created something outside the box, not working for the man. And my guest today, two fantastic people. Introduce yourself, guys.
My name is Jorge Alvarez. People know me as El Joy. And I'm a taquero at Tacos 1986.
My name is Victor Delgado. I want to be a taquero like Joy, but I'm not.
Tacos 1986.
Yes, sir.
I've lived in Los Angeles 20 years.
Whoa.
Been trying to find something that is not the same, but equivalent to where I grew up in San Francisco in the Bay Area. The classic San Francisco burrito, say, of...
Frisco is a burrito town, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's funny when you get into burritos and tacos, everyone immediately is going to have an argument. Tex-Mex.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Los Angeles,
Yeah.
the San Diego fucking burrito with French fry, all that bullshit.
California burrito, right?
California burrito.
Yeah, love it.
But for me, and it truly is a mystery to me, the San Francisco burrito is, for me, the number one burrito.
Oh.
That's funny because you're from San Francisco.
Yeah. Well, there's some key things in San Francisco.
Okay. I know nothing about the San Francisco burrito.
Okay.
I know a little bit of the taco scene. I lived in San Francisco 2011,
I used to visit.
and I thought the taco scene was not good, but you know.
Well, I never ate. I didn't eat tacos.
You're talking about burritos.
I'm talking about burritos.
God
I didn't
damn it.
eat tacos till I got to LA because I couldn't find a good burrito. But there's a thing in San Francisco. You got El Farolito. You got Cactus. You have Pancho Villa. You have Gordo's. There's all these burrito places, and everyone has their joint, and they argue about it over and over. But they all have this thing that I can't find in Los Angeles or anywhere else on the planet, this kind of green guacamole sauce.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And no one does it but San Francisco. It's really, really bizarre to me. It's spicy. It looks like a guacamole kind of juice. It's not a salsa verde.
I can make it for you. I know how to make it.
Yeah.
I always tell people it's not a verde sauce. It's not a green sauce. It's an
avocado salsa.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's an avocado salsa. Yeah.
Anyway, fast forward to about, I'd say 7-8 months ago. I'm downtown at a meeting at my buddy, his watch place, Craft and Tailored. And he goes, hey, you want to get some tacos? And I go, yeah, I guess that'll be quick and easy. And we walked up to this place, Tacos 1986. And right away I was like, what's with this name? It looks like an In-N-Out burger a little bit. It's red and white. I want a hat, but I don't want one during the MAGA.
Oh, yeah, the MAGA thing was complicated.
Yeah. And so, and then I go up, I'll get a quesadilla. No, that's a taco with cheese. It's just called quesadilla. I don't know what the other things are, the vampiras, whatever. So I get 3 quesadillas off that spinning.
Trompo.
El trompo.
What is it called?
Trompo.
Yeah.
De adobada.
I eat
Trompo
3
de
of
adobada.
those things, and from then on, I'm immediately a crackhead from Tacos 1986. I'm going out of my way to go downtown with no fucking parking, battling the nutty people, and eating the hell out of this, and turning on tons of people to it non-stop.
Yeah, you brought Ian Edwards. That was super cool. I
brought
saw,
Ian. I brought Kevin Christie. I brought my buddy Billy Rowe from Jet Boy, the band.
Damn.
I brought a bunch of people. I went to a movie premiere.
And we need to put him on payroll.
Yeah, we need to put. Yeah, we need to get one of
I went
those.
to a movie
One of those
premiere.
cards he was mentioning off there. Yeah, we need to get one.
Free
I went to a movie premiere and brought like half the people there.
What?
Yeah,
To downtown?
I went to this this amazing premiere for this metal scene in San Francisco. It was a documentary, Murder in the Front Row. And when it was done, I go, "Oh, we got to hit this taco." And we walked, and anyway. So I immediately became a giant fan and following on Instagram. And love it. And I thought, I've got to have these guys on. So let's get into how you started, first of all, and the name. So you two, what did you guys do before this?
Before this, I was in the nightlife industry in LA. I moved to Los Angeles about 10, 11 years ago. And my first job in LA was a busser or table service attendant, they call them now. And it was basically just getting all the rich folks their cranberry juice, their, their
bottle service.
Bottle service, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
What clubs were you at? Like Teddy's, shit like that?
Yeah, not Teddy's, but yeah, shit like that. The people that like ran Teddy's and stuff, I'm close to them, and my cousin is also very much into the nightlife industry. And he pulled me up, and that was my first job. The first nightclub I worked at was called Voyeur.
Oh, yeah, Voyeur.
Yeah, Voyeur, yeah, on Santa Monica Boulevard, which is now Delilah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny about clubs because they change names every week, but it's just it's the same room.
Yeah.
So you go like, where's it going off tonight? Oh, over at Dano's. What's Dano's? Oh, it used to be Voyeur. Before that, it was Billy Bob's. And then it was the 3-knock room.
Yeah, all that shit. Yeah. So that's what I was doing mainly before I got into the whole restaurant thing, and then once I started to get a feel for the restaurant stuff, I started to work at a restaurant. I worked at a restaurant for a year, for free.
For free?
For free.
You didn't work? You didn't get paid?
I didn't get paid.
You're just like interning.
Yes, I was just wanting to learn kind of how it works.
Well, how are you paying your bills?
Nightlife.
Oh, nightlife. So I got you. So
I stayed. I've been doing that since for the past 10, 11 years. And in the past 4 or 5 years, I got the opportunity to move from doing the table service and all that stuff to move outside. And I start to do the door now for a few clubs.
Heavy schmoozing. So you're the king of the red rope.
For a minute, yeah.
You're the one everybody hates.
And loves.
Yeah.
And loves. And loves
You're the
too.
ones the dudes hate.
The dudes hate, but
Yeah.
I played that whole game for a minute, and
It's funny because I've gone, and he's the nicest person in the world, and I've gone a couple times to when he used to work at the night, and I'd be like, and I just see this face, he's on, and he's just like, no, yes, and I'm
It's like a game.
Who the
It's a game.
fuck
It's
is
definitely a
this
game.
guy?
It's
Man,
funny.
he's the meanest motherfucker I've seen. and then I walk up to him, he's like, hey, what's up, man? He'll give me a hug. Get in here, man. And I'm like, dude, like, who the fuck is this guy?
he's like, "Is it okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course it is. What do you mean? You're fine." No, I'll go home. Like, no.
Well, Studio 54 was the first to have the red rope. And you don't look cool, wrong outfit, you don't know the right people. You're from the valley,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's that's interesting. So You getting a lot of guys slipping your hundos?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that definitely paid the bills, and it was crazy because it was a 2 or 3 nights a week, and that could set you up, for the month, you know. So you have your whole day off, and at that time, you're young, you're in your mid-20s, you're not really thinking about your future.
Not at all.
Not at all. You're like, just go chill at a pool, go have lunch here, go just doing nothing, to be honest, And
Well, it's a complete fake world.
Most
you're
definitely.
You're just in this world, and you're like, it's like Entourage, the TV
Yes,
show. You're just
that's
going,
exactly.
Oh yeah, that's his
Nobody
lifestyle for
works
sure.
during
Yeah.
the day. You're like,
Yeah.
where's
Yep.
everybody get money? What is going on here,
Exactly.
man?
Yeah.
It's
Like
crazy.
you start to go to all these, places for lunch. You hit up Frigate Seagull or whatever, and you're just, and people are just chilling. And you're like, like how do they, their lifestyle, whatever. Anyway, so that's what I did. I was in that world for a long time, and that definitely positioned myself into into just knowing a lot of people in the city from all sorts of venues, from athletes to a few actors, a few whatever. It's definitely helped a lot for us, to kind of have that access and not only that, but like know how to maneuver yourself when you're in those situations,
Right.
like if you go to some famous person's house, or like if you meet someone famous or someone like that, like to not act like a moron, right? Because at the club, I'm not asking for photos for anyone that walks in through the door, like, oh man, like this actor or this model or this musician that I love. Like the only person that I fanned was Sting.
Sting?
Yeah.
Whoa.
He's the only person
Sting
that's walked
coming out of Victor's mouth.
Yeah. I was working. I was a busser at Voyeur.
Yeah.
And it was a weird, wacky night. And all of a sudden, like, Sting is coming in with some friends, yada, yada. And you got everyone. You got Justin Timberlake. You got DiCaprio and his boys. You got
Dana White gave him $300.
Yeah, Dana White would come in.
I
and
would
just-
have gone crazy with Dana White. I would be like, yo, man,
Yeah.
like, please hire me, whatever.
You got all that stuff, right? Obviously. And it's like, you just, can I get you something? Like, actually, yeah, just do whatever. And it's just like, well, you do it and that's it. Like, there wasn't like, no, like, oh my God, you're so-and-so, or you're,
you gotta fit in.
you gotta be very nonchalant,
fit in
make
or
them
you're
feel
out of there.
Yeah. And you get fired, obviously.
Totally.
Yeah. So, you start to just be very cool about those things, right? So, I see him go to the bathroom, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm going for it. I go into the bathroom, I'm washing my hands, he's washing his, and I just look at him like, I'm sorry, I don't normally
You did
do
the
this.
bathroom?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So I don't normally do this, but it was a pleasure, to just be in your presence, yada, yada. And he was just, thank you. Oh, whatever he said. And thank you. And that was it.
Oh, okay. No picture in the bathroom.
No.
Okay.
That was it. I wanted to send my mom a picture right?
Yeah.
But that was it. And that's good enough, But
Are you a Police fan or Sting fan?
Police.
Both.
What's record?
My dad-
Ghost in the Machine.
My dad is a Sting fan, also Police, but my dad liked his stuff like after the Police because he was more jazzy, more into that
the
stuff.
adult contemporary.
Yeah,
The stuff
Brand
like
New
Yacht
Day, all that stuff. Yeah. But then, like you see videos of them rock the Police, and it's just these three monsters just fucking. And the way he sings, just getting down, and he's a bass player. It's just like very odd,
The Police are badass.
Badass.
Dude,
Badass,
I saw him on the Ghost in the Machine tour,
Jesus.
and Message in the Bottle.
Yeah.
You
That
know,
must have been so-
giant steps on what you take. That shit, man. And then by the time they dropped Synchronicity, they're the biggest band in the world, man. They sold out like Dodger Stadium type shit,
These three guys.
Three guys,
No
man.
no synths, no nothing, no, just these three guys playing.
Smoking.
Anyway, so that was my experience before before TACOS 26. It was a little bit of that world.
So you're in the restaurant world and you're learning the game. Are you in that world because you want to open something or you want to learn something new?
Since I moved to LA, I had big expectations on Mexican food in LA because I've never been to LA. I visited a few times, but I don't know much about the United States. I'm a kid from Tijuana that just knows San Diego and TJ, and that's it.
Yeah, you grew up in Tijuana.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Wow, man.
Both of us.
Both of
Both
us.
of
Yeah.
you guys.
Both of us.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
We were born in San Diego, but then we went to school and lived in Tijuana till, whatever, 16, 17 years old that I was.
Did you ever go to Iguanas?
Iguanas?
That nightclub?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Not really. That wasn't really, I was too young.
I did
Oh,
go.
yeah.
I did go.
Yeah. How old are you guys?
34.
I'm 34 too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 34.
Yeah, Iguanas is like a long time ago,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
But that was a spot. All the bands would go. Chili Peppers, Rollins, whatever. They go play Iguanas, man. It was just all out.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
rules.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
So you
Tijuana
guys-
back in the 90s.
You guys, so you're looking for some good Mexican food.
Yeah, good looking for some good Mexican food, and immediately like everyone starts like, oh, you gotta go hit up this place and hit up this place, and then you see Pinches right there on Sunset, right?
Oh, yeah, Pinches? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, like okay, well, like they're on Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
High rand, they must be cracking you, right?
Right.
And you go check it out, and it's not what you're used to. Still good, right? Of course, but not what you're used to. You go, and then the food trucks.
Yeah.
Oh, my food truck is the best. It's on the corner of this and that.
Yeah.
And you go there, and it's not what I'm
Expected.
used to.
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, I could eat this maybe once a year, twice, but whatever, and so on. And the whole thing comes, and it's like, where are your handmade corn tortillas?
Yeah.
Where's your your avocado or guacamole at least? Like, where is that? Where's the trompo? There's no trompos around, really. And
Where's your friend, your taquero friend?
Like
that's
the
gonna
guy
be
that
like,
chats
hey, what's
with
up,
you.
Victor? You're back again?
Yeah, what's up?
All right, ¿quieres quesadilla?
Yeah,
or taco?
before you're ordering, he already puts the plate in front of you just to get you started. Because that's how it is back home.
Yeah.
That's just how it was. And I don't see it. I don't see it. And in the back of my head, I'm like, damn, it would be so dope to bring something like from where we're from, something like that here. Like, I feel people would really love that here. But I'm just a middle 20-year-old kid making a few bucks. Like, I'm not trying to be some entrepreneur. I'm not trying to learn how to cook. I don't know how to cook. Like, so whatever. But it's still in the back of my head. Like, it'd be great if someone did it. Someone do it so that I can go eat there.
Right. That's how I always think about
yeah.
it. How come a San Francisco guy? That's what I kept thinking.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. These guys have like 5-6 locations, like say El Farolito in San Francisco.
Yeah, I've been to El Farolito,
How come a guy doesn't
The
have
Mission?
one? Yeah, how come the guy doesn't go, oh, let's just open some in L.A. too? I never understood that.
There's a lot behind that, and I have an opinion on that stuff, but that's what happened to me. And that's all I want. I want someone to do it so I can just go eat there every single day.
Right.
And then I learned that some friends of ours start that in the East Coast. And I see that they open a Tijuana-style taqueria in New York City.
Oh,
and
where
this is
at?
like the
Inside the Chelsea market. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Whoa.
Yeah. It gets a little interesting.
Yeah.
So, and I see, Facebook keeps us all, kind of in tune with each other.
2013.
Yeah.
And you start to see on Instagram, on Facebook, not even Instagram, oh yeah, tacos like back home in New York City, and then you see like a few write-ups and like
The New York Times.
the New York Times about this place. I'm like, dude, like that's what I need to happen here in LA, like, right? And I'm like, great. And it was this guy that I know.
You knew him?
Yeah, I knew all of them. What?
From Tijuana?
Yeah, from Tijuana. Just different group of friends, but it's the same hood. It's like you all know each other, right?
Of course.
And like all these guys, are so that's great. And the architects, they're not really into food, so that also motivated me, knowing that like, hey, like this guy is an architect. He went to New York for architecture, and he opened a taqueria. That's so great. And then I see one of the photos, and the cook in the photo is this guy.
Yeah.
Fast forward from that story.
Yeah, he's got a good point here.
Is I see I see that and like, oh, there's your secret machine right there. You know, like maybe that's what I need to do is find myself someone who knows how to do this, that understands, because anytime I would talk to like the nightlife people or some manager for the nightclubs or bartenders, it wouldn't connect. It wouldn't connect. It wouldn't connect at the fact that there's no beer involved. Made sense. It was just a lot of things. And I'm like, I need someone that understands this, right? And that little thing started about 4 or 5 years ago, up until 2 years ago and after that, I reach out to those guys, to his friends, and I am like, hey guys, like you guys should really try to do this in LA.
I was sitting next to he's one of my best friends growing up. So it was two groups. It was my group of friends and his group of friends. I used to be part of his group of friends growing up, and I merged into this other like clique or whatever.
Yeah,
say,
clique.
Right? And we were both like bougie fresas from Tijuana, like preppy, pretentious kids, that just wanted to.
They got that
drink
scene
all.
in Tijuana.
Oh my God!
Whoa, they got like
it's even
the country club kids.
Yeah,
all that
they got
stuff.
that shit in Tijuana.
Oh yeah, and we're part of it. Like so it was two different. And anyway, like I was sitting right next to Christian, because he sent the email to Christian, and we were hitting some bong loads, and he.
I emailed him pretty much, and I found the email recently. I showed you,
and he's like, "Oh, look at this." Gui emailed, and I'm like, "Oh, look at that," and whatever, like. We were so busy at the time, that
opening a store in LA is just not even part of your.
But
now I know that, right?
It was super cool because there was a momentum going, that reached all the way to LA. So there was opportunity there, like at least at that moment in that time, that's what I thought. I'm a little bit of I'm competitive, so like in that moment I remember like, oh, there's opportunity, not just in New York, that. It's a huge opportunity because there's no good tacos there at all. But LA was also, the concept, the TJ style concept could
thrive.
Thrive. Yeah. So a little bit about myself and how I ended up in New York. I wanted to be a chef since I was like 17 or 16. I got one of those preppy girlfriends, and she's like, "Oh, my husband's got to be a chef or whatever, And,
wow.
And I was like, "I'm going to be a chef, And
a culinary academy?
Yeah, it's actually one of those preppy, pretentious party like a quinceañera in the clubhouse, man. I was sitting with her brother, and her brother was a cook. He's a cook right now. He's a chef, and he told me, I remember perfectly, like I'm a chef. I'm gonna be a chef, and this guy, older brother, was the cool guy, the fresa, like, oh, this guy like tells me like, I would much rather be a taquero than a server.
Yeah.
And I remember that stuck with me, that kind of like, okay, flashing forward, I wanted to be a Michelin star chef, and I traveled the world. I wanted to be a cook to travel.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Like I can travel and cook anywhere. So I did Mexico, I did Argentina, I did Europe.
Any school?
Yeah, I went to a shitty school in San Diego that kind of just got $10,000 and told me I was a chef.
So you just learned in the field.
Yeah,
here's the check. Here's your diploma.
Yeah. Anyway, and when I was in New York with these guys, I had a little bit of experience, and we opened up Los Tacos #1.
No, but they were architects, right? They weren't in the food industry.
No, they weren't in the food.
And you were the food guy.
Yeah, I was already working. We were best friends, so we used to hang out and
so they're like, we're going to
live
open
together.
A taco joint in New York.
No. I was working at it's a long spread. Okay, how I became or how I realized that I was a good taquero, or how like the ego thing of being a chef to being, humbled into a taquero, and happened definitely at Los Tacos #1. But before that, I wanted to be like Wolfgang Puck or some other big name chef, Rene Redzepi or the Ferran Adrias or any John and Vinny. And it was just really hard.
Oh,
really hard,
it's
really
crazy
hard. So Christian, my best friend, the owner of Los Tacos #1, he came up with a taco concept. He made some renders, he developed this package, and he got a loan. And I was working at this badass restaurant called Isa in Williamsburg that was nominated for Restaurant of the Year and blah, blah, blah. And the chef got fired. So I didn't know what to do. I was just like, fuck, like, what are we? So we got pissed drunk. And there, I already knew my buddy had a loan. And we saw each other every day, man. We were best friends, like I said. And this chick comes up to me and my buddy. We're drunk, and what are you guys gonna do? Your boss got fired, like, how are you guys gonna live? And we're like, I don't know, we'll figure something out. We're cooks, we can get jobs anywhere. And she's like, well, if you have any money, my boyfriend, Evan, big shout out to Evan, whoever Evan is, he's like, call him, and he's got these like little taco truck concepts inside the Chelsea market.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got money. Give me his number. I'll call him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I knew the Chelsea market. Me and Christian have visualized like opening up a restaurant there. Not necessarily tacos, but something bougie, fresa, that would sell wine,
right,
alcohol, whatever,
coffee.
Yeah. And the next day I wake up and I call Evan, and he's like, come in at 12. I get Christian, and we have the meeting, and the initiation, like the ignition for Los Tacos #1 inside the Chelsea market starts. Doesn't open until, that was 2012. It opens May 23rd, 2013. And immediately it's a success. It's just like handmade tortillas, grilled beef, grilled chicken, a vertical spit. They got a different vegetarian option, a cactus option. It's an immediate success. They got 4 stores now in New York, and it didn't work out with me and them, and I left. I left New York. It was just like,
what was the argument? Money?
You know what? It's like I was a young 26, 27-year-old, didn't know what the hell was going on, and I didn't know anything about business or
right,
how to anything, so I didn't know how to ask, to participate,
how to position yourself,
how to position myself to be a part of, because I felt I was, I felt that, but there was a couple moments where it was awkward, and he was my best friend, and whatever,
Yeah,
so
whatever.
I left, and one day I'm just like, hey, I'm done, we're buddies, congratulations, you're a millionaire, and
and then you hit up Victor and say,
I left. I worked at a couple restaurants, but my ego was just like, what the fuck am I gonna do? I left and I moved to Nicaragua to just like,
Whoa.
to just be like, be a little beach bump, and I got a little house by a beach, a job. They paid me some decent money, and I just surfed and made ceviches. I started a taqueria down there, actually. We just had a really cool experience where we went and cooked, kind of closed a chapter in my life. It was pretty cool. And yeah, there's tacos and ceviches over there that I made, still going for this huge residential, like bougie, Nicaraguan, real estate.
Yeah,
And,
it's like a gated community.
oh yeah,
of some
gotcha.
sort.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I was there for a couple of years, or 2 years. I got married, and then like when I got married, it's just like the switch, like I'm gonna be here, where there's other opportunities either in Mexico or the U.S. And I just start thinking about that, and I moved to Tijuana. I moved back to Tijuana after 10 years of just traveling and trying to be a chef, a good chef. And I returned home with no restaurant, broke, a family,
A daughter.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't know, back to like my parents' house and everything. I was just like, fuck, like what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, that's weird, right? You go from like New York,
Yep.
starting a successful taco
Yep.
business, to Nicaragua.
Nicaragua.
To
Because
back to,
in all honesty, like you kind of fled to Nicaragua.
Yeah.
You know, like to like get away from
Yeah,
New York and
your
from
mind is like,
My
I
mind,
gotta get out of here.
My mind wasn't right. You
Yeah.
know, it was insecure. It was, I don't know. The people go through that. I think it was.
Oh yeah,
Like people have to go through that, like
multiple times.
Especially in your 20s.
suffering,
Yeah,
adversity, like not knowing what the fuck you're gonna do, and that was basically it for me. And while I was still like trying to work out my family relationships,
In the midst of that, I learned that he's no longer at Los Tacos anymore.
Yeah.
And I learned that he's in Nicaragua somewhere. And this is all just through Facebook, right? And then I see that he's back in San Diego, right? And so what are you doing in San Diego when you get back?
Oh yeah, I started working for restaurants. Just have like these shitty jobs everywhere. I was miserable, you know. And
Yeah. Were you going over the border each day?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. Sometimes I was. I got the little Sentry Pass, so it's convenient if you know your way, and if you work in San Diego and live in Tijuana, like
It can
you're
work.
good.
You
Yeah,
got
it can
the
work.
express pass?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can have a decent life, you know.
Yeah.
And that being said, my head, my life, it was just not in the right place. And Victor calls and
I sent him a Facebook message.
Yeah.
And he emailed and some renders. You send me some renders.
Well, first it was just like hey, like I don't know where you at or what's going on with you, but I'm trying to open up a taco place in LA, and I don't know much about the industry or anything like that.
Or the recipes or
anything, nothing at all.
You
And-
just want to eat. You're just looking for a place that you would eat at.
Yeah,
And you want to
yeah.
open it.
Yeah,
Right.
That's it. And I felt like I had good resources in LA to kind of support it as well, you know, and promote it and all that stuff.
oh
so,
fuck yeah, you did. You're the best. Yeah.
And that's why, you know, so I reach out to him, and he responds, you know, within a few days or whatever, like, hey,
Anything you need.
anything you need.
Anything.
You know,
I was so
I'm
scared
game.
of going into the taco business though. Like,
Yeah, because you got PTSD.
No,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
And not only
Yep.
that, I
100%.
knew I was better. I don't know if that made any sense. I knew that I could.
Let me ask you something
me,
while we
whatever.
go on. You are basically the recipes of the New York spot.
No, like I implemented a bunch of ideas and styles of execution.
Right.
I made a couple recipes, but no, you know, it's like it was in within that period.
Right.
So like
And anything you pretty much did became theirs.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Right.
like
I
that's
get
just
that.
how it is. You know, like,
But I'm saying, what was your idea of the menu? Was it straight up? Because I've eaten tacos in Tijuana a zillion times. Did you eat tacos all your life there? So you knew, it's missing these spices. You got to make it this way. You got to have the tortillas this way. Like how?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. All of a sudden, like making a taco for me became the most important thing in the world.
Right.
And it was like, oh, I'm not gonna get to be the best chef in the world, but I can be the best taquero because ain't nobody claiming that title, and that title's up for the grabs. So I realized that when we opened Los Tacos #1, and there were the mushroom idea, there was salsa ideas, there was ideas that I couldn't implement because it wasn't I wasn't the owner or founder
Right.
or anything. You know, I just like was a pioneer, and
Were you just cooking there?
yeah, I was making tacos, taking orders, you know, and I was working a full-time job. And
do you feel that you were a big piece in putting it together for them?
For sure. If I wasn't alive or didn't exist, I mean, it all correlates because Christian,
he would have figured it out, maybe, or whatever. right?
Christian also worked very hard and helped me a lot to put himself in the position where I'm like, hey man, you know, I can do this. But if it wasn't for me, there's no Chelsea Market, you know, like there's no. And that's what friends do, you know. That's what I learned in this whole experience. He's my friend now, and I have no like grudges or bad feelings. You know, I just had to go to this procedure to meet him and grow with him in this magnificent, spectacular fashion that I couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah,
you know?
it's crazy how things
Yeah.
You never know how things are gonna, come around.
Yeah, I just went and played golf for him, and he was so happy for me, like, because I understand that it could have been awkward at that time, and he didn't know what to do. He was just starting too, so like it's weird. But I'm grateful for the whole experience.
That's what gives you all the knowledge.
Yeah, oh, most definitely. All that stuff, like getting divorced, and all that fucking like it's in there, all that grindy, emotional. Like as soon as I decided to partner up with Victor, like I had nothing to lose,
So Victor, you reach out to him.
Yeah.
And do you have some money from some investors, or how does this happen? How do you pick the location and all this? Because the first one's downtown.
I have a story about that.
Yeah.
When I first met him, he shows up, and Victor shows up in this beautiful Mercedes, blah blah blah. And we meet at this taqueria, and I'm like, damn, this guy's doing good, like what's up?
Yeah.
And we talked, and the nicest guy, man. Like it was like 10 probably years since I seen him.
Yeah.
And there's some like not rivalry of friends, but there's differences. And we're we're competitive, know. And I was part of their group, and I merged into another group, whatever, So 10 years, he grows physically, mentally, whatever, and he approaches me in the nicest way. And I was, like kind of shocked on how nice this guy was, and how friendly he was, and how he needed the help. And immediately I got this, I'm going to help this guy out, whatever he needs. Like there's no, but he tells me right then and there, and he's like, hey man, like I'm ready to move forward, man. The bank just gave me this $20,000 card. Like we can get everything and start working. And I'm like, wow, this guy's ready to go.
So with the 20 grand card.
To answer your question, there was no investors, no outside money, no nothing. It was the little bit of cash that I had
PR
at that time.
Yeah.
And at that time when we met, no name, no nothing, just like, where do you start? Like what's up? Like, how does this work? So,
you gotta find a location.
Yeah,
you gotta buy restaurant equipment.
Oh,
you
yeah.
gotta
like
have
how do you staff? Like how do you everything? There was nothing. It was just a meeting of like, and this was like February 2018.
Yeah.
This first time we met, I drove down to San Isidro to meet him across the border.
February 2002?
18.
Oh, 18. I was there too. Oh, yeah.
18. And that was the first time we met. We went to a taqueria in San Isidro. Mm-hmm. And we just chatted for about 45 minutes. And right then and there, he told me, by the way, I want nothing to do with your company. I want nothing to do with
PTSD.
What you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm happy to help you with anything you need, but it's your deal, your stuff, and that's it. And I was just estranged by that. Like I would have think like, hey, maybe there's an opportunity, to
we can be partners.
And I was like, oh shit. So like I was
so scared. Yeah,
I was like, okay, that's how it's gonna be. No problem. Cool. And the next step from that was actually meeting and making some food. Like, let's go somewhere. Let's make some tacos. Like, if you think you can make salsas and this and that, like, I would love to.
You tell them, partner.
It's almost like weed growers. All right, let's see what kind of smoke you can grow.
By the way, that was my last job.
Yeah.
I used to grow in Humboldt. Those.
Outdoor.
Yeah, outdoor, man.
Whoa,
like
you were up there.
That was my last job. And I'll get into it. But when I moved here in November, like I was literally coming down. I came down on the train. He took me to the train, and I came down on the train. I spent a month there, made $5,000 that was going to help me trimming, and growing, and growing, and did both, but mostly growing. And when I came back, I had $5,000. He gave me a key to an apartment. This is your home now. Well, there's details there.
So we meet the first time in February 2018.
Yeah.
We chat, okay, and then it's like it took up until the first week of May to finally sit down, have him come to LA. I was working at that restaurant I told you that I was working for free.
Yep.
I was like, hey, I want to borrow the kitchen for a day or two, and he was like, of course, yeah. So finally we come up with a date that works for both of us. I I'm like, hey, here's your train ticket, yada yada.
Yeah.
Here's your Airbnb confirmation.
Yeah.
Place not so far from that place, and if I'm not mistaken, he was already like, yo, like, is the Comedy Store far from here? Hey, is that wild card place, the boxing place, is it far from here?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, actually, it's not. It's right here. And it's right here. You know, whatever. When I was like, let's talk about tacos. You know, like
He's setting up his entertainment.
Yeah.
his gym.
Man, I'm a big fan of Joe, man.
I go pick him up at the Amtrak on Alameda.
Did you?
And from there, we went straight. We go back to Restaurant Depot, which is like the Costco for restaurants.
Yeah.
And we
Buy everything.
We bought it. We bought
I had
pork.
everything
We
in my
bought
head.
beef. We
Just
bought
like,
chicken. We
They
bought
sell all that shit there, huh?
everything. Everything. And I asked him, does everything we need, can we buy from here? And he's like, oh yeah. And I was like, oh great, you know, because I was told to try not to go to 18 different places. To like, if you can get everything from one place, you're already in a good
You're
path.
winning, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, great. So we grab everything, meat, everything, and he's like, we're gonna need a slicer. I bought one a day before. I bought a meat slicer. You know, what was gonna kind of be needed.
Yeah.
I went ahead and bought it. You know, I had this brand new credit card.
Just to have him make some tacos to try it.
To see,
He was so prepared, to be honest.
Yeah.
He
Comes
had
in.
been thinking about it he had everything. He had, well, go ahead.
And that day, by the end of that night, that first time he came in here, we had chicken tacos and we had carne asada tacos, and we had all the pork marinating for the next day to build it on the
vertical spit.
on the vertical.
Oh yeah,
spit.
yeah. Which
and
looks
that
like
night-
kind of shawarma setup.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yes. We stole it from
That
the shore
night-
Yeah.
When I took the 2 bites on the chicken and the carne asada taco, I was like, "Yep, this is it. You know, this is exactly what I want to offer to this city." And this guy doesn't want to be a part of it. You know? So I was like already trying to think like, who am I? Can he help me train maybe someone else that could
Right.
execute all this stuff? 'Cause I can't execute it. You know, I can do anything else, but just not. I can't cook, right?
Yeah.
And the next day, build a trompo bomb. I buy a
And
drink.
during this whole time, man, I'm just thinking how much of a badass I am. You know, I hadn't done it in so long, you know, so I was just like on a fucking mode. I had the whole kitchen in there.
You're like, what's his name on Breaking Bad?
Yeah, it was like, exactly.
You're like, this motherfucker makes the blues. You know what I mean?
So, and I had the entire kitchen in sync with me, man. Like, they were like, what do you need, man? They're like, oh, yeah, I got you. You got great energy, man. You're the man. But the tortilla lady was like giving me hugs by the end of the day. And I'm like, I'm good at this, you know, while I'm doing everything for him. And he had a couple friends over. And I was just like, God damn, I'm good, you know. And this isn't even my setup, you know. I'm building my security when I had none, you know, like just by cooking for him. Yeah.
So the whole trip lasted 3 days. I remember that perfectly. And yeah, by the second day, we already had a spit. We had some of those tacos. By the third day, the last day, you know, he remade everything again. He made another salsa, and then on the third day, it was like, I have a problem. I need to offer something for vegans because we're in LA.
Yeah.
And I know it's not a TJ thing to have a vegan option or even chicken, but we're in California, we're in the United States, so chicken is a big part of people's diets, and we're in LA, so we need that vegan option. And he's like, I got you.
I had this idea already in my head, like from Los Tacos #1 era, you know. So I was just like, I hadn't even made it, you know. It was just there in my head, you know. It was just like, I know exactly what I wanted it to taste like. And we twitched it.
Yeah, and he was like, we're doing mushroom tacos. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That
He made
mushroom's
some?
deep fried, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I told you my buddy Ian Edwards. He goes, these are fantastic. And he goes, I got to figure out how to make these. I go, I'll go in and ask him. Hey, how are these made? The guy goes, oh, we deep fry them. I go, he's not going to like that.
Yeah,
So
no,
I
but
got-
here's the thing. There's a trick to it.
Yeah.
All right. The mushroom dehydrates, right? You've had those dehydrated porcini mushrooms, whatever mushrooms, and you rehydrate them in water,
Magic
right?
mushrooms.
Yeah, magic mushrooms.
Yeah,
there
those
you
are
go.
dehydrated.
Yeah, those are dehydrated. Get you fucked up, and it's good. We dehydrate them in the fat, so all the water content comes out while it's fried, just like a potato or blah blah blah. But then we let them sit, and they're dry. The oil comes out, and then we toss them in this little vinaigrette. So it rehydrates with the vinegar, the matcha salsa, and a little bit of salt. So that is like a sponge. And everything that's dehydrated from the vapor from the fryer, all of a sudden, like it's rehydrated with salt, spices, and a little bit of oil. So it is deep fried, but there's some technique in there, so it's not like
it's not like a chicken nugget.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's no pink slime involved.
There's no
All
pink.
right. So you obviously get him to become a partner.
That happens, and he leaves.
Uh-huh.
Right? And it's like, I won't stop working until the salsas are of your liking, that everything is working. But it was just a 3-day trip, right? So comes the third day, I'm like, great, and, okay, time to go. He goes, and there's no plan after that. It's just like, wow, like, okay, like it feels very doable now. It's not that complicated. The good thing is that he'll still maybe help me, open up the place or train someone or like, and I'm trying to figure out like what I'm gonna do. And I'm already thinking like, well, maybe I can start like in an open food fair thing that's called Smorgasburg.
Yeah, no brick and mortar.
No brick and mortar.
No brick and mortar.
I started to work on maybe finding a location and like how much is it going to cost to open this? I have no clue how that works. They would ask me, "Oh, do you need a grease trap?" I would be like, "Oh yeah, I'll need one of those." Like if it was like it's a blender.
Oh,
like I had no idea what a.
Yeah.
After I said I would help, I would get bombarded with questions from him. Like,
Yeah.
"Hey, do we need a grease trap? Yeah, we're gonna need.
How much space do we need for the hood? And it's like,
And I don't know. I'm just a silly taquero, man. I don't know
and
anything
all these
about
things are very subjective to everything, right?
course.
So anyway, long story short, I think I have an angle on who to get money from and how to open the place and where. I thought I was going to open an Echo Park in a new little complex that was being built that finally got done a few months back. And that's what I thought was going to happen back then. I just found actually the like a deck that I had created back
Right.
then. And all the information is kind of not really accurate now that I know, a lot, and
Was the deck for possible investors?
yes,
Gotcha.
Yes. So, and these investors would ask me all these questions that I knew nothing about. Like, oh, what's your guest check average going to be?
Yeah.
There's another name for it, guest check average. What's your GSA or what? Something like term, and like, oh yeah, the GSA. Just like
Yeah.
whatever. It's just like what
Yeah.
the fuck, and.
It's like those dudes on what's that show where they pitch ideas? Shark Tank.
Shark Tank. Yeah.
Just going in there like,
And
Yeah.
that's the way I did that for a long while I was married and trying to get my taqueria going without like going in somewhere to sell your idea, to sell yourself is the most fucking awkward thing.
well, it's
like,
crazy. 'Cause,
Yeah,
you know,
crazy.
people just see dollars and cents.
yeah.
And not the art.
And
or
I
the-
went with families, friends, fools, as they say, like, and all of them said no.
Yeah.
Every single, hey man, I just need $8,000, to start my taqueria, and I wanted to do it in Tijuana, where there's even a more competitive market, and your margin of profit is,
Yeah,
whatever.
The tacos there are like 50 cents.
Yeah, $1, but yeah. So I'm sorry I interrupted, but that's where he came in, and the relationship started, and I saw like how amazing it was, to work with him, and he would absorb everything I would tell him, and not forget, and even delegate that, it was very comforting in a way that to have that support,
Yeah.
and that's when I started trickling like holy moly, like this guy's the real he's all in, he's
Finally,
Yeah.
he's
after that, there's an opportunity to present this to a real investor, big money. He's a baseball star, all this stuff. And And he's like, okay, well, the idea sounds great. Can I come try the food? And I was like, yeah, of course. I had, the last time we did that was a few months back.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, everything is ready to go. Yeah, of course. And he's like, okay. And luckily, it was like August, and he's like, oh, how's September 13? And that was like 3 weeks away. And I was like, I thought I was going to say like tonight or tomorrow, and it's like it doesn't exist, So, oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, September 13. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, no problem. Okay, cool. Hang up, and I called Joey like, hey man, I need another favor. Can we set up like a little tasting for this guy that can probably give me the money to open the place and this and that? And he was like, yeah, when? This date? Okay, yeah, no problem. Count me in. I'm down. Yeah. So
immediately, I got that fuck yeah, I'm gonna be great again,
Yeah, and I told him like it's this baseball player, like it's Nat. You know who he is? He's like, fuck yeah, I know who he is. Like, oh yeah, like okay, cool. Well, it's all done. So,
Did you meet the baseball player from your club days?
I met him from that restaurant that I was working at.
Oh, gotcha.
He was like a customer,
and
friend of a friend, and so I kind of knew him, but not really.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit. Finally, the day comes. Joey gets there like 2 days before, and
went to the comedy stores both days.
Both nights.
Yeah, both nights.
And asked my friend who owned the restaurant, hey, can I borrow your restaurant to convert it into a taqueria for this day? And he's like, of course, yeah, let's do it. So we pretty much turned the outside patio into a little taqueria. We put stuff on the walls. We did red and white.
Wow.
The whole thing had pictures.
He had the
Just all
shirts,
on the
the
fly.
hats. He had everything.
That day, my brother Joe from San Diego was bring me the first shirts and hats, and I dated the shirts with that day because I knew it was going to be a very important
special day. Yeah.
And
you had the name?
Everything. Yeah.
Name, the logo.
What is
already.
the name?
The name is just the year I was born.
Okay, that's what I figured. So the guy, the guy comes down and you cook them all up and he tries it.
And I also invite the main manager guy, whatever, everything, the god of Smorgasburg.
Uh-huh.
Smorgasburg at the time felt like a really good opportunity for a new concept to kind of get your feet wet and have people, because 8 to 10,000 people go to that thing every Sunday religiously. So you're going into where people are going to be like, oh, let's try this guy, right? So I invite that guy over too. And then the baseball player arrives with his wife and this and that. He brings his own salsa.
He brings his own salsa.
Yeah, he brings his own salsa.
And I tasted it. Oh, it's got this. Yeah, very good. And I'm like, we can do it.
And I invited a few other friends, and it was a fun night. Everyone was just eating tacos. It was just Joey making tacos, another friend of ours helping him grill, and a tortilla lady, and the whole thing, it was like, oh, okay, so can I order from you? And I'm like, no, you have to go order from the guy. That's how you... Okay, so he got out, the chair, and we went over, and that was the whole experience. It's not like a sit-down restaurant. No, you have to go order from Joey. And Joey asks you the right questions. Okay, asada con todo? Uh-huh. Con todo, what does that mean? Boom,
onions, cilantro, guacamole, and salsa,
just the whole experience, we were able to create that in that one night. Right. The night
tacos
ends.
in 1986.
Yes.
On a pop-up.
And after that night, the baseball player leaves. He's, happy. His wife is happy. They're a little buzzed. They had a great time. Friends of mine that went there also had a great time.
I had a fucking great time. I was like the stand-up comedian that killed that night.
Yeah,
it was just like, oh my god, you were great, man. Blah blah blah. And I was just like,
people taking pictures of him doing the whole thing, and I'm just trying to talk to whoever I can and kind of introduce him to what this thing is going to be. And finally, after that night, he was just like, hey man, I have to be a part of this.
Oh, him?
Yeah. And I was like, fuck yeah. Finally,
finally.
I was like, fuck yeah, done. We just fucking hugged each other and that's it, and that was September 13th of 2018.
Yeah. Wow. And he had I was about to go on the trimming phase, so I knew I had that going, that.
He told me, he's like, I only need the month of October
Yeah.
Because I already have booked this job and it's going to pay me good money. But after that, I'm all in. So I had from September 13 up until November 1st to figure out how this was going to go down.
And before I left, we were talking, and he's like, "What are we gonna do, man?" He always worries. Like he's got this. He's got this. I know. I look at him and like, oh fuck, this guy's worried. You know, like about some. So like I saw it for like, what are we gonna do, and how are we gonna do it? We need. Blah blah blah.
The baseball player hasn't called back. He hasn't called back.
And he's like, how are we gonna find? It's gonna take us 9 months to build. Like, how are we gonna make money and blah blah blah, get you paid and blah blah. And I'm like, and we're outside this restaurant where we're cooking, you know, and he's brick and mortar. And I'm like, dude, why don't we just open there, in that parking lot right there?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, like you want keys to the restaurant. And I'm like, yeah, but if you want to open, you know, in a week or 2 or a month, like you gotta consider your options, man, you know. And I'm down, I'm game, I'm all in, you know,
And you only need a truck then, right?
Well, we avoided the truck purposely because we didn't want to get lost within all the trucks.
Right.
So we
and I hated the idea of having a truck, food with wheels.
Yeah.
For me was just like.
So you were going to open a parking lot and just cook it somewhere else, or just
stand?
No, we bought carts. And grills and planchas and the whole carts
and tables.
Where just in a parking lot?
Yep.
Of that restaurant?
Highland and
Lexington.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I still live in that apartment right there. Yeah.
Did you just rent the space from the people?
We talked to the coffee shop owner. It
wasn't doing that good, that coffee, which is now a creation. I actually met Duncan Trussell there not too long ago.
Wow.
The creation.
We go in there, and I'm just like to the coffee shop owner, like, hey, man, like... can I rent your parking lot at night? And he was like, well, what do you mean? Like, we're going to do tacos here at night, you know, not a big deal, 7 p.m. to midnight, maybe, whatever. And he was like, sure, when do you want to start? It was like October 20-something. I was like, how's November 1st? Because I knew that he was going to arrive like November 2nd.
Right.
He's like, okay, that's fine. I'm like, okay, how much? She's like, $500? I'm like, yeah, that sounds reasonable.
500?
Yeah, I'm like, I have that in my pocket. Yeah, we can do that. So, okay. And then as of November 1st, that parking lot was ours.
Yeah, he sent me a picture too of the check that he signed. He's like, and I'm like, whoa, like we're doing it.
Because the whole month he was in Humboldt.
Humboldt.
Anyway, so from September 13 to November 1st, I start to find now how we're going to open this thing in this parking lot, and I got married into that idea. I put on the side the whole brick and mortar raising money thing, and found someone that could make the carts to our design, to our specifics.
And this was because baseball guy never came back.
Yeah.
And so you're like, let's do a parking lot restaurant, pop up, get the money, and eventually open a brick and mortar.
Let's just do that and see what happens.
Yeah, right.
You know, let's see what happens. We didn't know what was going to happen after that. And the first time...
My confidence was a little stronger, you know, so that gave me, you know, like kind of like the attitude to go for it, you know, and just be like, hey man, we can open this parking lot and we'll have people here in no time, you know.
Yeah.
And the day comes, he gives me the keys to my apartment. We had a cart, we call it the Terminator now. It's the oldest cart that we own, and no logos, no nothing. And we're like, we're cooking here in 2 days. And he's like, fuck, but the carts are coming in November 13th, you know, like, don't you want to wait? And I'm like, no, let's do it, you know. And we go through all this work. We set up shop right there. It was no light.
Light.
The first thing we figure out, it's like, nobody's going to see us.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? And some friend of his named Bryce came. He got 3 quesadillas with no onion and a drink.
Yeah.
And he spent $13.40 or $16, something like that, you know, and that was the only customer we had. And
the first night,
and he had a POS system, everything to charge, you know, a wire to a bank account, so it was a card transaction, no cash. And there was people trying to tell me how to make the tortillas, you know, it was all very confusing. And we just looked at each other, and the only thing that I could say was, we just got to open tomorrow, man.
Yeah.
We just got to open and try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, that's what you want to do, we'll do, and we did, and it was kind of the same, it was a lot of work, nothing. He's like, why don't we wait until the carts show up, and we'll open that day. All right, when do they come? November 12th, November 13th. And I'm like, all right, boom. And by then we all have like some shirts, hat. We got a trailer. We went and bought a trailer so we can move everything
So
around.
you'd set up each night till midnight, and then
Friday, Saturday till 3 a.m.
and then just tear it down.
Just put it back down, put it in the trailer, and it was crazy.
How long did it take till it started to take off?
So I started to get really into that the restaurant scene, right? I would check, like all the food bloggers and see and learn kind of like what's going on, see the whole world. And he kind of stepped away from that world where like he was like kind of like, I don't care about the restaurant world anymore.
And
chef
before
world.
it was my life. Like I had all the cookbooks. I knew all the chefs. I used to spend all my money. My paycheck would go to rent and the best restaurants in New York, or the best restaurants in San Francisco, or the best restaurants in Norway, or the best restaurants in. That's what I would do. Like, and it was always an investment for me. Supposedly, that's a silly way to.
You're like the Tijuana Bourdain.
That will be the day. Like he definitely was an inspiration to traveling and cook. So yeah.
So you're looking at the blogs and then.
So then I start to know a little bit like who is Nancy Silverton.
Yeah.
And why does it matter who she is? Like, okay, cool. Who is John and Vinny? And why are they important to the city?
Who is Evan Funky?
Who is Evan Funky? Who is like all these people in the city? And not only that, but like who is Farley Elliott? And why do I need to know his name? And why is he impactful to what I'm doing? Who is Matthew King, and why is it important? Who's Jen Harris? Like all these other names that maybe we don't really know, but like
they're huge in the restaurant world.
Yeah,
super powerful people.
Yeah, they're just the mainstream kind of guys. Right?
Yeah. So because from my understanding from friends from Mexico, when they visit LA, the first thing they would do is blog what's the best bar or best drinks in LA, and then you would see an Eater list or something from Eater, and they would look into those things. So like,
and they actually compete. Like these guys, the LA Times, Eater, and the LA Talk, they compete. Who has the better articles, and they feed off of each other's momentum. We later figured that out, right? And it was super spectacular for the company.
Because I was ready to sign with a PR company.
Yeah.
That could kind of bring in those food writers and introduce us and like see if they can write an article or something about us and kind of introduce us to the whole scene. Because I knew the club scene and the nightlife scene, but I didn't knew really the food scene.
Of course. It's totally a different scene.
It's totally different scene.
Because nightlife is the buzz of the cool kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that is. That's just a text to somebody like, this is the spot.
And to be honest, that helped a lot.
Yeah.
Like our pikes were right after the clubs closed in Highland and Lexington. And you would get these blogger dudes, who had 1 million followers on Instagram or whatever,
Right.
and they would come up and
Digital power.
And I was I saw that we were recording, and I start fucking, hey, what's up? I'm the greatest, with flex and be like, ain't no other taquero out there better than me. Just start to make noise, because obviously he was still working in the nightlife, and in my head kind of like put 2 and 2 together and was like, hey, this is the time to make noise with all these little fellows, with the camera and whatnot, and like day after day just being open, all of a sudden we have like Lamborghinis outside the taqueria eating tacos, on the top of their car, Mercedes right next to them, and rappers coming in, artists coming in, and what the hell's going on, and same faces started showing up. But before that, something that helped was that when we decided to open, we called the baseball guy, and he showed up with his family and made a little video that got like 100,000 hits, and all of a sudden we're getting people from Downey, California. Hey, we saw you on this guy's, Instagram. And I didn't even know where Downey was, you know. Like I only knew Highland, Lexington, the Comedy Store, and the Wild Card Gym. That's
Right.
That and work, you know. I was so dedicated to still am, but you know. But before it was like I cut all the onion, all the cilantro, made all the salsas, and luckily we have people that do that now. And so I was all in.
You know, baseball fans are very devoted, and this, you know.
Yeah, man, we met some amazing baseball players too. Yeah,
Yeah. So that kind of starts to happen, and I mentioned a few names that like a lot of people didn't know, but I was before restaurants. I was really into music, and it was important for me to know who Rick Rubin is and why it matters.
Of course.
Important to know who George Martin is and why he's the most important producer of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And producer of the Beatles. And I started to get very nerdy in the food scene. And I'm like, oh, okay, John and Vinny, who are these guys? Oh, well, you know, they started this restaurant and this and that. Like, you start to like do research on who's who and all this stuff. So then all of a sudden we're there and it's like, oh, okay, this guy's that Eater, the main writer for Eater. It's like, damn, I think it would be important to like introduce myself and kind of like bring him in. Like,
and he comes up to me, and he says
and
that,
like Joe, like the main writer for Eater is here.
At the parking lot?
The parking lot.
Fuck.
You know, like, and
and the story on how we got there, man. There's just so many magical stories on like just pure adrenaline and go kind of, but the way we got there was pretty magical.
It was just a magical time. That November and December up until March 2nd, it was a wild ride because just, you know, all the food writers started to pop in, the respected ones.
There were expectations all of a sudden. You
Yeah.
know?
It's crazy.
This little
Food
taquero,
writers.
little taquero, if you point the camera, he'll blow kisses at you, man. And people would come up and be like, "Hey, man, like, what's up?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck?"
I mean, you're only open like 2 months.
Yeah.
And you got top food writers. in this
coming
parking
in.
lot.
It's
dude.
That's crazy.
a month later from that,
We were at Smorgasburg, and you're going that route. The LA
no, a
Kings?
month later we got a call that we have to close down.
Oh,
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Why?
So a month later,
Landlord got super greedy, man. He wanted to charge us $3,000 for the freaking parking lot. No water, no storage, no anything. I was ready to pay, but he's like, "Fuck no," you know. Like,
Yeah.
we had a little.
Crazy.
yeah.
It goes
So
from 500 to $3,000 in 3 months.
coffee shop calls me, "Hey man, the landlord is pissed. He just read online how this crazy taco place is crushing it
Killing.
in his parking lot, and
He's not
Why
happy.
would he be pissed?
yeah, well, because he's not making any money off of it.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And
I get it, but it's so weird.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so you can't set up tonight. That was like Monday morning. I'm like, tonight? Like, we can't set up tonight. Like, we have all this momentum going. Like, you know, by then we already had like one article written about us on Eater and one article written us about on LA Taco.
Yeah,
and,
it was a good
and like
taco.
we're like we can't, and we get the phone number for the landlord, try to set up a meeting for the next day.
Yeah.
We go meet up with him, and essentially it just didn't work out what he was trying to offer and what he was trying to do for us.
He's just saying $3,000 now.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about that is it would just go more later. You know?
It was just like,
What's crazy about that is we were even in that position. All of a sudden, 1 month ago, you know, we had no concept, no nothing, and all of a sudden, this owner of a bunch of lots in Hollywood is trying to come up on us, you know, on some money from us. Like,
Yeah,
what
and
the
you could
fuck
just
is
move
going on?
across
You know?
the street.
Yeah.
and that's
Well,
exactly
I saw
what
that
we
angle,
did.
you know, because he was like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "Listen, man, we got to be grateful somehow, some way here, because all of a sudden this rich fellow, you know, is trying to get money from us.
Yeah.
You know, we ain't got no money, you know, but we got that going, you know. I don't know if that makes any sense,
Right.
And
So that's late December.
Yeah.
And it's like, shit, what do we do? It's Christmas break, kind of, but we didn't really believe in any breaks. And I start to just call anyone I know. I even put on Instagram, like, hey, we're looking for a parking lot anywhere. And people start to reach out, Lauren Christ, you know, and like everyone's just like, hey, well, we have a parking lot here. We have a this, that over here.
support, like LA got with us.
Yeah, it was really cool. Finally, some friends They have a bar in Koreatown, and their idea was for us to go and to use their kitchen and do tacos on a few nights or something like that. So we went to just hear them out. Once we're there, the whole meeting took a completely different direction. We had no idea that was going to happen.
It's basically this empty restaurant.
Corner of 6th and Western.
Right.
Koreatown, right?
Right.
I've never been in Koreatown.
I didn't even know what Koreatown was.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Right.
And they're like, oh, you can use the bar. And like, I walk in there, I'm like, this is a waste of time. Like, we're not going to.
And
like,
I'm completely rubbing off of his vibe, you know? Like, if he don't like it, I don't like it. But I always, at that time, I had these silly ideas of just go-getting. So we're walking out, and they're talking. The guy's talking big money again, you know? Like, oh, we got to charge you rent and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, these guys, you know? And I'm like, just like, and I look, and there's this perfect spot, you know, caged. And I'm like, hey, man, you own the whole building? And he's like, yeah, well, I got the lease for it. And what about this? And he's like, you want this? It was dirty, grimy, you know? And I'm like, yeah, this would work.
It was like an indoor patio of a building.
Yeah.
So like you roll up the gate, and you have like an interior patio, and then right there the door
It's like a seating
takes
area.
you inside.
It's seating
like
area, a patio. Yeah.
Not outside on the sidewalk, but within the building.
I get it. Yeah. I get it.
They made this bar where you can throw hammers now. It's right there on Western.
So he sees it, and he just sees it. He's like, oh, like
what about here? And the guy's like, you want this?
You want to sit up there? Yeah.
There? And I'm like, that's perfect. And he's like, well, that's not going to be that expensive then, you know, just give me blah. And we're like,
and he's like, and we also have a kitchen upstairs. I don't know. Like, wait, you have a kitchen upstairs?
Yeah.
Can we see? He's like, sure. We didn't know you needed a kitchen. We're like, we do now.
Yeah.
We go upstairs, and there's big, massive, empty kitchen with a big, massive walk-in cooler.
Everything.
And we're like, can we use this? And we're like, well, we can work out a deal so you can prep here and have your taco thing down there. We're like,
Completely illegal, by the way.
yeah, completely. Yeah. I mean, the kitchen was it had it was certified kitchen. It wasn't anything like that. But you're not supposed to sell food on the street. Period.
Right.
That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, but I would say, we close the deal.
So we close the deal. We do a test night Thursday before New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And that was like the 29th, the 28th of 18. And finally, we said, let's start rent on the 1st of December.
Yeah.
And
January.
January.
Sorry,
19.
January. Yeah, of
Yeah.
19. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And New Year's, we had 2 parties booked. One
It
for
was crazy. No sleep.
good
days,
friends, you know, that we did a big party, and then we did an after hours party at 4 a.m.
So we grabbed all the equipment, went from this beautiful house in the Beverly Hills, very quiet, and we're talking about, I mean, over 200 pounds of equipment, you know, of rolling on wheels, you know, and getting it out of this beautiful house with beautiful Maseratis, Porsches, and we're like, oh fuck, we got to get to this party, and it's up the hill.
It was that one night. So we had that party from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. And then we have to be at this other baseball guy, none related to the other guy.
Yeah.
Probably the best baseball player right now in America.
And
Take your pick.
And his after party started at 2 a.m.
Oh.
So we were supposed to serve from 2 to 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And the team was down to do it. We're like, hey, like whatever they pay us, we'll just give it to you guys.
Yeah.
Like, you know, let's just do it. So we do that. We're out of that party by 5 a.m. 5:30. We go back
And
to
this is
Koreatown.
moving equipment.
Yeah.
Just like a trailer and like.
And we're Ubers, but we're dropping off the co-workers out their houses, you know?
Yeah, like it's already daylight, whatever. We get to Koreatown. We put the leftover food away, and it's like, hey, well, our rent starts tonight. Should we open tonight? And it's like,
Fuck
yeah. So our first night in Koreatown, where things really, really changed for us, started January 1st, 2019. And from January 1st, 2019
To March.
to March 3rd, we opened every single night. And
It was
that's
war.
where Yeah,
It was
another
war
type
every
of
time.
magic happened from there. That's where you got even more food writers, more food bloggers, chefs, renowned chefs.
They named us. Eater named us top 16 restaurants in America.
And we were just a stand.
Wow.
Like we were the opening paragraph of that article, man. Like you had no idea how cool that shit was. You know
That's
that
nuts.
5-6 weeks later,
Yeah.
we get an email saying, "Hi, this is Bill Addison. I'm the food critic for the LA Times. He's anonymous, by the way.
Yeah.
No
and
one
he
knows
is the critic.
Wow, no one
he's
knows
like,
who he is.
No, he's
That's
like, hey,
wise
like
move.
I'm preparing a review for you guys. I would like to speak to whatever. And I'm like, oh shit, this is like big time. So I call one of my other restaurant friends. I'm like, hey, I just got an email. We're gonna get reviewed by the LA Times. It's a big deal. He's like, no, homie,
You already got reviewed.
you already got reviewed. He already went and ate probably a couple of times. You have no idea when or who, and he just wants to ask you a few questions to finish the story.
Whoa.
And you don't know if it's going to be good or bad. Like you don't know anything. And it's like,
And he called me too, and I don't remember what the fuck I said. You know,
they
like-
spoke on the phone.
Yeah.
And then he called me, and we spoke on maybe for like an hour on the phone. And he was like, okay, cool. Well, I'll reach out, whatever. I tried texting that number again later, and it was a burner, a number that he called me from.
A burner number.
A burner.
He's like Banksy.
He's like,
Banksy of food critics.
Oh yes.
yeah. So it
That's
was
crazy.
Big shout out to that guy. Yeah.
2 months later. Boom! Cover of the LA Times.
Cover of the LA Times.
The cover?
Cover
Of the not the food section.
of the
And what did it say?
sizzle, something sizzle.
I'm the greatest taquero of all time. That's what it said, man. It specified the Freddie Mercury of tacos, the number
he
one
named
pound
him
for
the
pound,
Freddie Mercury of
very
tacos.
charismatic fool, Victor Manuel Delgado, right there, beautiful name on the cover of the fucking LA
Dude, that
Times.
is
That was
nuts.
nuts. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're still in Koreatown.
And we're still in
Koreatown.
Koreatown, and there's a
No money,
fucking
no
line,
investor, no nothing.
PR,
No
just
PR.
a fucking two boys from TJ getting fucking down and aggressive, man. Like people were.
So he's like the main guy, right?
Yeah.
But kind of under him, or like beside him, are the staff writers.
Yeah.
That you do see the name and
Yeah,
you do know them, like
super
Jen
cool
Harris
guys,
and,
yeah.
and Andrea Chang and Lucas Peterson and all these people, and by then
Peter, big shout out to Peter.
They show up. And like I already know, like I follow them on Instagram and knows. Like and I tell Joey like, hey, all the LA Time girls are here. They're all here. It's like okay, so like you go and you introduce yourself and you take care of them, whatever. They always pay, by the way.
They always pay, yeah.
And very cool. We start to develop some sort of relationship with them. Where like you have each other's numbers and or they'll text you like, hey, are you here? I'm coming by. I'm like, that kind of stuff. And one of them starts a video blog, and he's like, hey, I'm starting a video blog. Would love to shoot a video of tacos with you guys. And Joe's like, let's go to Tijuana. And he's like, that'd be awesome.
Wow.
So we did that. We went with the LA Times.
Yeah, super cool.
And we went to where he grew up, his house, where I grew up. It's like an 8-10 minute little short video, really cool. Then a friend of ours in Koreatown, a new friend of ours, Jimmy, he introduced us to the Coachella people. And Coachella were like, hey, you guys want to come do Coachella in April?
Nick Adler. Big friend.
So you guys were at Coachella.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we did
We were in the
Coachella.
Coachella offices, dog. That was so cool. Like
That's
when we walked in
right.
there with our logo and everything, we're like,
And they bring out the whole map. So this food's going to be here. You guys are going to go right here. And like it's a whole operation.
you're going to be in the VIP area.
In the VIP.
Everybody's going to be looking at you.
Yeah,
And we're like,
we're just like, oh, yeah.
we
that
cook
should be
for
okay. We're just
Chuck Liddell, Leo DiCaprio,
We served
everybody.
there
went
for
there.
a lot of like just
That's
models.
Yeah,
it was
models.
crazy. It was
Yeah, Davey Havoc.
Back when we could go outside.
Back when we could go outside. We
Yeah,
were
so-
waiting for Coachella #2 for
we
sure.
camped. We rented
Well, you camped.
we
Yeah.
camped.
Loved it.
It was a whole.
I lost my soul the first week of Coachella, just like screaming out taco names and blah blah blah. And we actually developed our system of execution to the T right there. Remember,
Yeah.
like
we learned a lot from that experience.
So you guys are blowing up, and at what point do you get money to open a brick and mortar?
That happens.
The question.
That happens because, like we said, from January and
To March.
to
March 2nd,
to March 2nd,
the health
we're open
departments,
every day
yeah.
in Koreatown. No plans of opening a storefront yet. Just living like kind of day to day, just getting through.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, March 2nd on a Monday night, the health department shows up to that stand
Yeah.
and shut us down. Either someone called.
Yeah.
No,
Or-
someone called and complained.
Someone called and complained.
We were right next to this little plaza in the heart of Koreatown.
Right.
And
Too many people.
And there was a shop there where we used to set up right next to him. We smoke out places, you know.
So I think all our beef and the smoke was
yeah.
probably bothering the
Well, and it was a
I get it
retail
too.
store, you know. So
Yeah.
people would buy
yeah.
products, and it would
Just
stink like asada.
Yeah, they're
man.
buying like a sweatshirt. It smells
So
like.
they
fucking-
were like, "Excuse me, somebody's selling and grilling meat here, and it's unsanitary. We should go check it out."
Yeah.
and they
So they shut
showed
you
up.
down.
Yep.
Even
And
though
we
that kitchen
tried-
was impeccable, you could walk into any kitchen that we worked in, and I always say it looks like a plastic surgery facility. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like super clean and yeah.
that happens, and when that happened, it was already like the second time we got shut down, pretty
Yeah.
much. First time by the landlord, and now this, and it's like we can't go back to this model, and then
No.
shut down again,
Yeah.
and then go somewhere else and build a fan base, and then get shut down again. Like we can't.
No.
it's not
And-
sustainable.
Eventually, people lose interest.
Yeah,
I don't
so
know
it's
where
just-
they're at
yeah,
you know where they're
anymore.
at.
Here,
Yeah.
then they're there.
They're
And
moving.
no. And plus, since we already called out, we wanted a little bit more information on what's the deal, because this thing just came out where you can sell food legally, but then
Street
the hell,
vendors was legal,
Yeah,
getting
whatever.
legal or something.
yeah, and we just got a little information, and we went straight to the health department, and she was like, "Listen, there's a lot of conflict right now with that article that came out about you guys being able to sell. It's actually not legal or on par to the health department status." And we learned a lot, but what we took from that meeting is that if we were ever to open again and we got caught, we would get fined up to $500,000.
Whoa.
So that was very scary.
Totally.
That one was like,
It's like you
We're
know,
fucked.
Yeah,
You know,
like,
we're-
we
we're-
can't afford to get.
No, you're trying to save money for a brick and mortar.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like we
no, I'm
can't.
already thinking like, man, this like, I love LA, and I'm not giving up on the concept, but I'm gonna have to go get a job somewhere, you know, and as a chef for whatever.
Yeah,
until
and by then I'm still working nightlife.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that happens, and that's just like, you know what, we gotta open a store.
yeah.
I want to be open for lunch. I want to be open in the morning, and carts.
Mm-hmm.
You see them all kind of come out when it gets dark, because that's when like the health department kind of closes.
Yeah.
And it's like a whole it's like they all turn the other eye.
It's a system.
Yeah, and it's like they're not gonna crack down on everyone.
Yeah.
They're just not gonna do it. So anyway, that's the mentality now. It's like, hey, well, how do we, you gotta start looking into this now. We got all this momentum. We have an article in the LA Times, and we're not even open. Like, this is a big
Yeah.
problem.
Right.
And by then, a friend of mine says, hey, I gave your number to so and so. He wants to reach out because he has a space that's empty, and yada yada yada. Okay, cool. So we take the meeting, and it's the downtown location. We go see it right before Coachella.
Right.
And from March, we got closed up until Coachella. We were doing Smorgasburg every Sunday
And catering.
and catering events.
Yeah.
And friends were still like, hey, come do a pop-up here. Our good friends from Wanderlust in Venice,
Yeah.
they invited us to do a pop-up at their location for like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
We did that in Venice for a few weeks. It
We
was
did
good.
one another one on Beverly,
Beverly.
Boulevard. We met Action Bronson there, that rapper.
cool.
And,
Yeah.
We did that like a
Big
little
shout out to that guy.
a pop-up at a coffee shop, trying to stay relevant, trying to stay active,
And
you know.
people would follow, man. Like,
Of course.
we would just post it on the internet, and people would show up, and there was a line.
The power of
Yeah.
fucking
Social
No,
media.
it's all this.
Instagram
It's
and
all
the internet.
yeah,
It's
picture right here for sure.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
We go check out the downtown place. It's an empty space, you know the space, and it has the hood already in there. It has like a counter, and the guy's like, hey, I have the space. I was supposed to do my own concept. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm looking for a Mexican concept here. And if you guys agree to this deal and whatever we do, you could be open in 45 days.
Whoa.
And that we just looked at each other.
And we're like, yes. It's like, where do I sign? Like, yes, because.
And is he giving you some kind of rent deal, or are you cutting him in?
He became our partner for that location only.
Right.
And the terms worked out great at that time for where we were and everything. So we said yes. We got some advice from friends and attorney friends and whatnot, and we're like, let's do it. And he's like, just tell me what you need. I'll get it done. Cool. We gave him the list of things that we would need, and then we went to Coachella. And we were there for 3 weeks because we did week 1, week 2, and then after week 2,
the country one.
After 2, they were like, "Hey, do you guys want to stay to do the country one?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh man, I was exhausted."
So super cool story. We were exhausted by second week, and we're like, and I was going to Nicaragua to see my daughter. I hadn't seen her since we opened, So.
That was already booked.
Yeah. Already booked, already planned. And then they asked us to do the stagecoach, and we're like, let's do it. But then I was like, man, I'm not going to be here, like blah, blah, blah. And he was looking for a way out. He's like, man, you're leaving. Like, we don't want to do it, let's just go tell Nick. Nick, the food guy, a great guy. And we go talk to him, man. And it was the coolest thing because we were like, we don't want to do it. And he's like, thank you so much. And blah, blah, we're so determined. And he's like, walk with me, and we're like, no, we gotta go. Walk, they're gonna be fine. Walk with me. So why don't you want to do it? And he just like bum,
very suave, very suave motherfucker.
Blah, blah, blah. And he like gets us in this room. You guys want to drink? Nah, we're good. We need to get back to the. Okay, well, this is where I hang out, man. Like, and it's a pretty cool place,
AC,
everything, like some Coachella hidden treasure, And we're like, all right. And you walk in, and it looks like a speakeasy, and. Anyway, whatever, and he's like, wah, like, so you don't want to do it because of this, that, and that. So basically,
what the reason is it? Well, we can't. Like, it's hard to find workers. Like, these guys that are here, they can't stay for a third week.
Yes, they can.
And he's like, they'll stay.
Yeah, and they'll stay. And we're like, and we looked at each other.
They already said no. Like, we don't have any staff. So do you guys just have a staffing problem? That's it. And we're like, yeah, you guys will figure it out.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, we're not. Like it's next weekend. Like no one. He's like, you'll be fine. You'll figure it out.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
And we're like, we just looked at each other and we're like, he's one of us, man. Like he's one of those go-getters. So it just hit our ego and like, all right, motherfucker, we'll do it.
Okay, we'll be here. We'll do it.
We'll do it.
Yeah,
and fine. We walked out of that meeting like it was a long walk. Yeah, we were just looking at each other. This motherfucker got us, man.
That's hilarious.
That was a good one. Yeah. Anyway, so
there's downtown, and how fast does it take off?
Immediately. I mean, it's still. I still think that store hasn't hit its full potential.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like 2 or 3% away, like from getting there. Obviously, this pandemia was a shocker for everybody, but we've been able to roll with the punches and adapt, even open 2 stores in the middle of the pandemia. So
how do you guys, when you're booming downtown, and then you go, okay, let's open Westwood, and then Beverly.
Once you open that one place,
right,
obviously you learn a whole lot of things.
Of course.
And then a whole lot of people start to take notice.
Right.
And by then we already become friendly with a lot of restaurateurs, a lot of chefs.
Different investors and stuff?
Everything.
Gotcha.
Offers start to come in.
Yeah.
Emails,
and
real estate brokers, hey, I have this perfect location for you guys.
I was always very defensive, I was always like, hey man, like we don't want to listen to those fools. And Victor was always like, no, we do.
Yeah.
Let's listen to what they got to say. We don't have to say yes to anything,
Of course, take all
and that approach was like, let's do it, So we started taking all type of advice, all type of people wanted to tell us how to do it, when to do it, what's the right way to do it, what's the wrong way.
You guys should do this.
And we would only. I took his approach. Listen.
Yeah.
Don't say anything. Don't commit don't commit to anything, you know, just listen. And like he said, it's just been a world of people that approach.
Yeah.
You know, that approach and have something to say. Oh, it's very delicious and it's magnificent to it. Oh, you should do this with the mushroom, or you should try this processed meat and put it as a vegan option, you know. Processed vegetarian meat is great, man. Me and my girl have it all the time.
Yeah, full of sodium. You'll love it. Let me ask you, so when you opened the first one, at how quick do you realize, shit, let's open another one, you know, and another one? Because you're starting to work Beverly when the pandemic hits.
We open Beverly April 1st.
Yeah, that's got to be scary as shit. I go, that's not going to happen.
Scariest shit I've ever done in my life, man. Yeah, for sure. It was like, because we had no information of what the fuck was going on, you know? So, like, I thought that if we kept open, all of our employees were going to die, you know? And
then the riots hit.
Yeah. Man, that was even.
And then the riots
We were inside the store of Beverly when they were walking down Beverly, and some fool was like tag the place, and some other guy wanted to tag, and he was like, hey, los tacos no, jefe, you know, and boom. And so the store was impeccable. The one in downtown LA as well, like.
Downtown, they didn't hit it, huh? They're hitting everybody else.
Oh, man, the LA community.
They trashed the Starbucks next to us.
Oh, my God. They
Starbucks
trashed
on
it
the corner.
with our sign, man, our we're open sign. They threw that thing to a window. We saw it in a video. Yeah.
I mean, you got to look at the fucking hurdles that you guys were dealt from the first parking lot greedy landlord to the health department cutting down Koreatown to then opening downtown, and then the start the pandemic of Beverly, you know, and then the riots. Every bad card you could get. And then we were even talking about pandemic, everything shut down.
Oh, man, that's been
so bad delivery people and systems on that, Postmates and all those type of companies.
Yeah, all of a sudden we have to partner up with a third party, something that's not part of our concept. We never even thought of it, you know?
They're dropping the tacos off 2 hours later. They're all fucking long.
All that has been definitely
a challenge. A challenge of itself.
Now you just opened in Burbank.
Yep.
I was thinking the freedom of this. There's just parking.
Yeah. And a lot of these things, like they were kind of already aligned.
Right.
Before, March 13 when everything went shit really, really bad.
So you already had plans to open 5 of them.
Yes. And no. Yeah. Beverly definitely. Beverly, because we signed that lease back in November.
Right.
And it was a full gut out, full build out. I
remember I was following it on Instagram.
All the walls, everything. So we knew we were going to be ready by March, April. And that was a challenge. It was like, it's March 13. The NBA just got shut down.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks has COVID, coronavirus, not even COVID. And we have a brand new, beautiful store ready to open. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what do you do? What's the right thing to do?
I remember I said no. I was like, no, Victor, we can't do this, man. We're like, we can't. And him with his calm demeanor and like he had a worried face for sure. He was just as worried as me.
Worried.
Of course.
But
all your money is in this shop that might not open.
No. He said something to me and it got to me. And he's like, brother, listen to me. Like, we have to open, you know, like, and he said something to me that up to this day, I'm like, I'm never like putting myself in a situation where he would say something to me like this, because it got my ego, you know, and he's like, if you don't want to be part of it, you know, you can stay home if you're scared. And I'm like, and I took that, you know, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I ain't scared of this shit, man. Like, no way I'm going to be scared of that. I've always been the other guy, you know, but the information and the resources were so not there for me. Dude, like, 'cause like you said, we've been thrown every bone of adversity that we could, you know, and we've chopped that shit down and find some diamonds in it and boom, been able to shine.
Yeah.
But the pandemia, like people dying, a lot of people dying in Italy, man. Like a lot of people dying in New York. A chef friend of mine from New York died.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, what the fuck? So, and we have a bunch of responsibility with the amazing workers.
You got workers.
Yeah.
You know.
So that panic hit in my head, but I'm like, listen to me, man. Like, like when he said that, I took it home and I took it good, and first.
And it wasn't like a oh, if you're too chicken, stay home.
No, it wasn't like that.
It wasn't like that
no,
at all.
No. But,
it was
but he
like,
was determined, to
let's
like.
just work.
He had just a different mentality that I was like. With those words, I immediately engaged. It wasn't like oh, I'm gonna think about it. It's just like he said it to me, and I'm like, hey man, first of all, like if something were ever to happen and it happened and not, like. I'm in this with you, brother, and I've never been the guy that says like, oh, hold on, but in this specific moment.
He's always the yes man and I'm always the maybe.
Yeah.
And in this case,
you
I
can
was
tell
like,
he's always like, let's do it. But then the COVID came around. He's like, I don't know.
no, dog, this shit, like, I don't.
People are dying.
But for me, it was like other people, like all of a sudden I have to worry about ladies, about other dudes, and.
Let me ask you
It's
some
just
questions
challenging.
before we
Go.
get out.
Yeah.
Please.
Sorry, we can talk a storm. I know.
No, not at all, man. This is great.
Yeah.
First question. No chips. Why? I'm just wondering. It's just a question.
We got tostadas, homie.
Back home, we didn't grow up really eating.
Tijuana, no chips?
Not at taquerias.
Right.
At a Senaduría, at a sit-down Mexican restaurant all day. But not at
Taqueria.
Tacos El Frank, not in El Hipódromo, La Manzana, whatever they know.
Taconazo.
I don't think any of them have chips.
None of them have it. No.
So we wanted to steer away from
Right.
those kind of things.
Extra work.
Next question. No burritos.
But we got perrones, homie.
Yeah, no burritos, same thing. We feel that burritos are more an American thing.
A San Francisco thing.
A San Francisco thing. Why not? Than that. Like I relate burritos to Roberto's, Lolitas, Los Panchos, to those taco shops in Chula Vista, San Diego.
Yeah.
More than even to back home.
Yeah.
Back home, I know very few places.
Back home, burritos are burritos, homie. Like,
Yeah.
Back home, burritos
I know
are
what they
small.
are. Yeah. I'm just asking the question.
No, yeah.
Because I get
They're
it.
6
You're
inches over
keeping
here.
the
They're like
concept
12 inches.
completely pure to Tijuana. I understand.
Trying to stay as close as
Right.
possible to what is served, and they don't have burritos at the taquerias that we eat at.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about locations? You think more, or are you going to chill for a while?
Right now, it's uncertain because you think that we're going to get out of this soon, and then we take like 10, 15 steps backwards with the whole shutting down the city. The cases right now are insane, are up the roof.
Yeah.
And it's like, and there's still no vaccine or any way to fight this thing.
Yeah.
So, and people are telling me today, oh yeah, forget about Coachella next year.
Yeah.
Oh, forget about baseball next year.
Yeah, we were talking
how
about
long?
that today.
Yeah, like how long are we going to be in this whole
Situation.
Until
this whole
there's a
world?
vaccine.
Yeah, and that's a part of that has a factor in like, hey, well, we have 4 stores.
It's a big factor in our limitation, of
course.
But obviously, the time that we've been kind of like, oh, should we wait a little bit or not? There's also a lot of learning in there where the company's growing and you need the right people to grow with, and we're in a position right now where we have to make the best decisions because they could be a predicament down the line, and that's really it. Like, do we want to open more stores? I can speak for both of us that we want to be in Arizona sometime next year, that we want to be somewhere, San Francisco sometime next year,
That's a tough market.
Oh, I don't know. There ain't no competition for the best taquero in the world, homie.
Oh, shit. I love it.
I'll park right in front of El Farolito and take... No, I'm kidding.
What about the look? Was it In-N-Out inspired?
Honestly, the concept was very much developed by Victor, and he had this vision, and
I think a big part of the look is just, again,
Tijuana.
Back home.
Simplicity.
Yeah.
How it works kind of in some situations is back home a family wants to open a little taco shop or whatever, and they do it themselves.
Right.
They put up the bricks. They just build their own grill. There's no limitations or permits that really they draft. Now they are, but back in the day, they just did it, right?
Yeah.
And they would rent the land for a few dollars and pesos, and that was it.
And they would start the tacos, and Coca-Cola would come in and be like, "Oh, sell and boom, and we'll paint you sell Coca-Cola, we'll paint,
So they would paint it red
and
Oh, I
white,
gotcha.
put
So
the
it's
Coca-Cola logos.
Coca-Cola.
what's your place
marketing.
called? Oh, my place is called Tacos El Amigo. Okay. They would
Tacos
get
El
up there
Amigo.
and they would paint signage for them
Wow.
and the Coca-Cola logo right
Coca-Cola
next
logo.
to
Wow,
the
yeah,
name.
yeah.
But you can only sell Coca-Cola products.
No Pepsi.
Sure. Yeah, no Pepsi.
No.
Okay, no
Pepsi.
problem. No Pepsi.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, no problem. So then that became, and for like liquor stores,
Yeah.
abarroteras.
Yeah.
You would see that all over the place. It would be either
Tecate or Corona, Modelo.
and it would all be like blue and
Oh,
all
I
that
see
stuff.
that all the time.
Yeah.
The whenever I'm in Mexico,
Yeah.
it'll be like one
Pacifico.
Pacifico
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's all
Tecate.
they have.
Yeah.
Bring out the bucket of Pacifico.
And-
Yeah,
they
one's
also-
owned by Cuauhtemoc, and the other's owned by Heineken, I think. Tecate.
Right.
Heineken
Right.
was just bought Tecate, I think.
And they also provide the beer companies. They give you money too.
Yeah.
exactly.
They give you, and a friend of mine has bars, and like the Tecate will be in here, like, hey, here's here's $20,000 in cash,
Yeah.
and you can only sell us for 10 years or whatever, and
Wow.
we'll put the fridge, we'll do it all.
Oh, yeah.
So that kind of determined a lot of the aesthetics in businesses in Mexico.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
That's cool.
So it was an easy decision for
Yeah.
us to be like, oh, we want white, we want red.
Yeah, we
and
want to
just
be
think
like
think
old
about
school.
Target.
Yeah, Target.
What color is their logo?
Red and white.
Chick-fil-A.
Vaughn's,
Yeah, red and white.
Ralph's.
Yeah.
I don't know. The
Yeah.
list goes on. Everything
Yeah.
is
In and out, Chick-fil-A.
In and out,
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
McDonald's even he's got a
Yeah,
more
the
My
yellow.
restaurants would be
red.
green, the color of money. I love green. I'm like a green guy.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
Surprisingly, there's a study there where colors do bring out your appetite. Of
course, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
About 2 years ago, I discovered Topo Chico while I was in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I drink
Me too.
only Topo Chico now. But at the time, it was only in Texas and some other states. Then Coca-Cola bought them, and it slowly started to be. One day I was in 7-Eleven. Holy shit, Topo Chico in 7-Eleven. It's taken a while, but it's all over. It could be the best water on the planet. Is that where you found it?
We found it in
I
Texas.
went to Texas.
Yeah.
for
I would say for the first time in my life, we got invited to do an event for Eater
Yeah.
in Austin, Texas. Over what is it called? South by Southwest.
Southwest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. It's cool that you've intertwined with these great music events too.
Yeah,
you know?
crazy. Yeah.
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 Crazy.
But you don't play music at your restaurants, right?
Yeah. We
do?
just playing.
Yeah, sometimes
I-
the music's off.
I don't notice because of the pandemic. You know what I mean? I'm like outside on a corner.
Yeah. But normally, when everyone's in there, there's music being played and all that
Yeah, we got
stuff.
some-
So you're at South by Southwest. Somebody hand you one?
And that was the first time I had seen it before here and there, very lightly, but there it was very, very,
It's everywhere.
very present.
Yeah, it's
you know.
everywhere.
And we went to a market and
We bought some.
we bought a 6-pack of it, and
We loved it.
we loved it. We just looked at it, and
The
Mexico.
logo is-
I don't know how old it is, that company, but
I
I
don't
don't
know
remember
either.
seeing it growing up.
No, I didn't see it.
Ever.
because, matter of fact, they've got an anniversary logo out right now. And
Holy shit, do they?
yeah,
We need to get
it's-
that shit in the
it's
restaurant.
The first logo, and it's on. So you don't have it yet, but it's starting to show up. I see it in like I'll show it to you on their Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
It's starting to show up in the stores, and they're going to run it. They said for about 6 months.
Oh,
And it's an
super cool.
Anniversary of their logo.
Their logo's so cool, huh? Like they just
Well,
got
look
the print.
at the old one, man. You're going to trip on it. Oh, hold on. My phone's off here. Let me get this. You're going to trip out. Here you go. And, I mean, the first time I drank it, I was like, this shit is insane. I was with Bill Burr, and we were doing Austin, Texas.
Oh,
And
super cool.
We
yeah.
were doing the place where they shoot Austin City Limits. Mm-hmm. And so we ate at a rib joint across the street that was absolutely fucking smoking.
Yeah.
And I go, man, what? I go, hey, you got Perrier? And they go, no Perrier, Topo Chico. And I go, what's that?
Yeah.
And the guy goes, it's the same thing as like Perrier. It's a bottle of water.
Mexican.
And it showed up, and it was
wow.
there's
That's
the vintage
beautiful.
logo.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
we gotta get
the ink,
these.
the ink is different. The topo is like aligned together. It's not on top or bottom, or is it always like that?
I don't even.
It's really
That's
really
super cool. And the yellow looks a little bit more golden than yellow. Yeah, I like that.
Well, and it's like old school.
Yeah,
like
you're right.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So anyway, they've been around, I think, like 100 years or something. But, you know, it was all about at the other end of Texas and Mexico. It was, you know, it's like Juarez side.
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I think it's from Monterrey, I believe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I remember the day when we bought the 6-pack and we got a couple flavors. And
Anyway, we
And
should
Victor-
add this. And by then we didn't have a store yet.
no,
that
we
was in
didn't.
March.
Yeah,
Okay, here's the first logo.
Damn.
Like that's so badass.
So
so
that's
badass.
out in the stores right now.
That looks like agua caliente from
yeah.
Tijuana, no?
Yeah.
That
Isn't that
logo.
crazy?
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
So when I saw that, I hit him up and said, "Oh, don't change your logo." I did. I Instagrammed it. They go, actually, that's our original logo, and we're just running it because it's the anniversary, and we're just gonna run it for a while. And I was like, "Oh, that's badass!" The anniversary. I mean, that thing looks like some old bottle of wine.
Yeah, man,
You know?
it's so cool. Yeah, that's cool that you're into stuff like that.
Oh,
I
man.
love prints. Yeah,
And I don't like the bottled ones. I drink them at a restaurant, but I like the 16-ounce plastic bottle one.
Oh, I haven't even seen
yeah,
it.
I'll show it to you. Hold on.
we got a Topo Chico fan here.
Yeah. I hope
man.
they're sponsoring this podcast at the moment.
Yeah,
Topo Chico,
They,
the
they better
best
give. They better
bubbly
give you
water you can
the
find.
best bubble.
Oh, that's the one,
okay.
huh?
And you like the Topo Lime? Is that Topo Lime right there?
Lime or the grapefruit.
I love the grapefruit, man. The grapefruit's good. Yeah.
And the
You
reason
want to
I-
have something tasty, but you don't. I know you're not a sugar guy, but
Yeah.
we half or like that much of lemonade, not a lot, ice. Then throw that in there and swirl it,
Yeah, oh yeah.
or the hibiscus, or both.
Oh yeah.
And you got a nice
The
little
reason I like
refreshment.
this one is you can screw the top
Yeah,
off.
you can close it.
So when you're driving, it's not spilling all over your car, or when you're out hiking or walking. And this was
Dude, we need to take a picture of this guy.
this was really hard to find. Dude. And this showed up at 7-Eleven one day, and I was right here on the corner, and I was like, "What the fuck? Look at this bottle."
There we go. We got a nice little picture. Dean Del Rey promoting. You
Yeah,
need to. You
promote-
better get some money from
Yeah,
these
we're
fools,
going to get
man.
you a paycheck from these guys.
Yeah.
I hit those fuckers up because they sent my buddy Marcus King a refrigerator.
What the fuck?
Yeah, these cool refrigerators they have for like you know.
They sent us like a bottle opener and a keychain. That was it.
right? And you guys fucking should
Yeah,
have this fridge.
they're on my menu.
It looks like something from a bar and it has the logo on it.
Hey, we need to get a fridge of those motherfuckers, man. Like,
And then my buddy's Jam.
If we get one, we have to give it to.
You know, Jam
Oh,
in
you're
the
getting a
van?
Yeah, we have to
yeah.
give it to. Huh?
Jam in the Van. You know that?
Jam in the van.
There are guys that have a van and bands play in it and they film them. It's incredible.
No way.
They got a fucking full setup too. Let me show it to you. This is so funny. Topo Chico's got a truck now.
yeah, they do. We see them at events. They love us, man.
Yeah.
We've been very lucky, and we've
They
been
don't
next
love
to
you
them.
enough to give you the fridge.
Not that much.
No.
Not
But
that
we're
much.
getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
I hit them up for a fridge. I go, come on, man. All these people that come to do my podcast.
We'll get you a fridge,
You can
man.
have the fridge. There's the top of the fridge. See it?
Oh, that's so cool.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's like tall and slim and Marcus King and I who's one of the greatest guitar players on the planet right now. You'll love it. I'll turn you on to him.
Yeah, please.
We both love this, and sometimes I'm backstage and Marcus will have like one left and I'll know not to grab it because it's
Of
his
course,
gig.
yeah.
It's on his rider. But
Yeah.
really, I'm like, God damn, I need another Topo Chico. And I got a Topo Chico shirt I wear on stage, and people go
The Topocas and Tacos or Topos and
People go
Tacos?
crazy. The Topo Chico shirt. They're like, where'd you get that shirt? You know?
We need to get him some merch.
Yeah, we got to
Dude,
suit
look
this
at
guy
the
up.
shirts are rad.
Oh, like good
That's
image.
good. I want to congratulate you. And it was cool. Jesus Trejos was down at your place with Tom Segura, and they did a cool thing on the taco.
cool.
It's funny because when Jesus was doing the show, when he first was talking about it, I had coffee with him and Ian Edwards, and I go, dude, you gotta go to this place, 1986.
Oh, really?
He goes, oh, that's funny, man. We're doing it next week. And I was
that's
like, oh, you
crazy.
should have me. And he goes, oh, we already got somebody. I go, all right, well, if you do San Francisco, you got to have me on.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, he does, man.
But,
does a great job too, man. Great worker. Great, very supportive. We actually had one of the most amazing talks. He gave me good advice, Jesus Trejo. So he's a good friend now, for sure.
That's great. And it's so good that you guys, the comedy community is embracing it. And not that we have any shows anymore, but I was going to say, if we did, you could just come out anytime.
Oh, I'm ready.
Yeah,
Don't even
that's
get
my
me.
whole thing of like, hey, come see us tonight. You know? Yeah, it's just fucking great. But
we gotta get Spade in there.
Yeah.
I'm a big Spade fan.
Oh, Spade.
Yeah.
Rad, yeah.
Yeah.
and-
Oh no, I saw.
And you love Joey Diaz.
Yeah, I love Joey. I've seen Joey Diaz. I've seen Joe Rogan. I've seen man, who was? Oh,
Bill
I
Burr?
loved. I didn't see Bill Burr, but I saw. Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee was funny. Bobby Lee. Bobby Lee. Yeah,
Tommy
he was.
Lee's a
Bobby Lee.
Bobby
yeah.
Lee was so
I saw
funny.
Spade about a
man.
year
He
ago,
was-
and I think Bobby Lee was one of the openers.
He
for
said something
Spade.
like,
Right.
he said, the joke that I would never forget. He's like, man, people always ask me, man, when's your next series of the Grey's Anatomy show coming
Oh,
up?
yeah, that one,
And
yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
dude, that's a chick.
He goes, I love the joke. He goes, they always confuse me for other Asian actors.
Yeah.
Dude, I love you on set. And he goes, that's a woman. That's so funny.
Yeah. Joey loves comedy.
yeah,
he's
I got to
really
get a
into-
hat from you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I got you for sure.
That'd be
we
good.
were-
Remember,
absolutely.
when I first met you, I don't think you remember, but it was right when you guys first opened. I was like, you got to have black hats, and I'll wear it. You can't wear this red hat. 'cause
I remember.
I don't want to look like a maggoty guy walking down the street.
looks very
And you're like,
maggoty.
yeah. I go, or at least blue, or silver.
I like blue. I
Yeah.
like blue.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having us,
Thank
man.
you so
It was
much.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And
Thank you so much.
It was really fun remembering. We need to start, like this will help us.
I just love you guys' story. I love the food. The food is amazing. I'm going to give you guys a real quick rundown, then we'll get out of here. They have tacos. Then they have a thing called quesadillas. That is not the quesadilla that you know from the famous, what's the movie? What is that movie with the nerd guy? God, it's one of my favorite films. I don't know. He loves quesadillas. Anyway, it's tacos. They have tacos. Then quesadilla is not a quesadilla. It's a taco with cheese.
hamburger, cheeseburger,
Hamburger, cheeseburger.
Right.
taco quesadilla.
Taco quesadilla.
Right.
A
and then
taco
the next
doesn't get
thing
cheese unless it's a
is
quesadilla.
What's the next thing? Vampire?
Mulita, which is
Mulita.
also like some people would consider that a quesadilla, but a mulita basically translates to a mule. What is a mule? Half a horse, half a donkey, something like that. Yeah,
Right.
a mule. So the mulita is half a quesadilla, half a taco. It's an open-faced quesadilla with a tortilla on top.
With a hard tortilla.
That's the
vampiro.
vampiro.
Oh,
and why
no.
do they call
Crunchy
it
vampiro.
vampiros?
Yeah.
Because they say they look like bats, especially when people are drunk at night. And it's
then
a little sign.
and then you have the veggie mushroom option.
yeah.
Then the meats are,
beef chicken, and adobada.
and that is what you're famous for, man. It's like, looks like something from a shawarma shop. They carve it off the fucking
Vertical spit, el trompo. It's got strawberries in it, and it's fucking delicious.
I love it. And then I go, hey, what's in that? Oh, sugar. So I go, I'm fucking eating this shit. Now, one last thing before we get out of here. My favorite thing on the planet, and I call it the paste, which I love. The cash register girl always goes, I gave you two things of paste, Dean. That hot sauce that's like a paste. What
La
is that?
fresa.
La fresa. Oh, well, that's a sauce that was actually developed in our Koreatown days, and people would say that our sauces are not spicy, which they're not. We wanted to make them kid friendly, and
More flavorful than
than the heat. It's the worst thing when you go to a taqueria and you can't eat it because it's spicy.
Right.
But all these bougie people, what I call fresa from Mexico, would come and hey, this thing's not spicy, man. You say you're Mexican, you say you're the best. This thing's not spicy. It's not spicy. And I told this guy, like, one day, I'm tired of these fools, telling me the salsas are not spicy. They're all a bunch of fresas from Tijuana or Mexico, that just
Chilangos.
they come here to critique and blah blah blah. I'm gonna make the spiciest sauce I can make, and I'm gonna throw a ball of strawberries in there, man, just to boom, and we're gonna call it la fresa, the strawberry sauce. And he's like,
Okay. Okay.
That shit is insane.
Yeah, I know.
It's like a paste. It's real thick.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. It's actually like you've created your own thing, like I love in San Fran with the avocado sauce.
Yeah,
but it's
cool.
like a paste.
Please remind me to bring you a liter of that salsa that you're talking about. Do you like it on the spicy side or
I
mild?
like it on the spicy side.
Okay.
I got you.
I
¿Tú ya sabes a dónde ir, o?
Mi tía Pati. makes
What do you make
best
it?
one. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll give you a recipe, everything. You can do it here. It's super easy. It's
How
very
about
in a blender.
introducing it to the shop? Come on, man.
We have guacamole.
Just one more, though. Dude, I'm telling you, call it the Del Rey.
Oh.
Just like, we got the fucking strawberry one and the Del Rey.
Let's see.
Dude,
Let's
I would
see.
lose my mind.
If this podcast over like breaks records, which I don't think it would, we might consider it. The most listens.
Come
boom.
on. All right. Let's
I'll
get out of here.
definitely work into it. We'll send you a nice little sample.
Yeah.
And we'll work from there. What
Let's
do you think?
do it.
All right.
Instagram is tacos86.
Tacos 1986 LA.
LA. And you got Twitter or anything, or just Instagram?
Taco 1986
Cool.
on Twitter. Taco 1986 LA on Instagram. Joy also has a very interesting Instagram. It's
JOY Tostada. Joy Tostada. Yeah.
yeah,
That one?
that one.
Yeah.
You don't even. Are you
That
even
one,
on it?
Yeah, I'm on
Yeah,
it.
he's active. Yeah.
But it's just like to promote the food.
All right. Let's get out of here.
Thank you,
so
Tim Del
much.
Rey, you man.
And
Pinche bola
go
de fresas.
down and go see them.
Westwood Village,
Westwood Village.
Beverly Boulevard,
Beverly Boulevard.
downtown Los Angeles,
Downtown LA.
and Burbank.
And Burbank food.
Open at 11 a.m. every day, and they all close around midnight.
What time they close?
Midnight or 10 p.m. depending on
10 p.m.
the-
Burbank, what time it close?
10 p.m. nightly.
The downtown's midnight.
Midnight.
Yeah.
Midnight, downtown.
All right, guys, there you
All the
go. Thank you for
lampitos.
listening. Keep the candles lit. Go visit them and see you guys soon.